So in this video we're just going to go through some foam rolling, and your foam rolling can be done before your workout. It's a really good option just to warm up the muscles. So we're starting off with a trigger point roller underneath the spine. We're hitting the lumbar area, so we roll on it a few times just around the lumbar area, and then side to side we can hit a few more little spots that feel a little bit tender that we might want to go over as well. It's a nice way to mobilize the spine when you just hold it in one position and try to bend left and right and back to front. So we can hit the roller, then back up a little bit further into our thoracic spine and up into our shoulders. A nice little thing to do around the thoracic spine is to try and do a back bend, but keeping the neck in line with the spine, so not bending the head back. So you can take your hands up to try and keep the head, the weight of the head kind of off the neck as well. And rolling up into the shoulders and down into the thoracic and lumbar spine, getting a nice roll. So you generally roll maybe about up to 10 times in certain areas, hitting a few soft spots that feel a little bit tender, and try and do some mobilization work as well, where you get those back bends over the roller, so you're increasing your mobility. And that's just one aspect you can do to help with the mobility. We have another video on the bretzel, which is another nice little exercise you can do to increase that thoracic spine mobility. So trying to keep the lower back flat while also bending over the foam roller helps. So if you do this in a warm-up, or even try and do it in your daily mobility, you will hopefully see some differences. The next muscle we hit in the upper body, we're going to try and just roll into the lats. If you have any issues with bringing your hands directly over your head, if we've done any tests with you for shoulder mobilization, overhead squatting, you may have had some tightness up around there. So try this little move. So we're just holding into position and then getting some nice movement on the shoulder as we're holding those lats into a pressure point. So we do the same on the other side, rolling into it, and then doing some movements of the arm and shoulder, rotating the hand palm up and palm down so that we can get a nice little bit of scapular movement. And the lats play a very vital role in the shoulder health. So a lot of people may have inactive lats or just underdeveloped, but it's nice to just do a little bit of work in that area, especially if you have any shoulder tenderness. So again, you can include this in your upper body workout warm-up, or include it in your daily mobility work. Of course, if you can include it more often, you're going to get more benefit out of it. And with foam rolling, the more pressure you put into a point, so the more body weight you put into a point, the harder it's going to feel. So as we move down to the lower body, we're going to try and hit into those glutes. So leaning over to the side where you have the knee bent and the foot behind the opposite knee, you're kind of trying to hit that piriformis area, but also try and get up around the outside of the glutes as well, on the outside, backside of the hip, and into the top of the glutes, which you might think is your lower back. And we're trying to do some mobilization exercises there, holding the pressure point, and then doing some internal external rotation and some flexion and extension of the legs. And then we're taking that roller down into the hamstring on the same side, so doing all one side first. Crossing over the top leg on the opposite side, so you're getting more body weight into that hamstring, so it feels a little bit more intense. So it's just a good way to warm up and soften the tissues up a little bit. It doesn't really replace a massage or anything like that, or get rid of any trigger points or knots that you may have, but it does help with a warm up and with some mobilization techniques. So doing the same again on the other side, you're hitting into the glutes and the piriformis with that hip rotated. You're really getting into the piriformis, so you should feel that. Keeping the weight, leaning over onto that glute side. Doing a little bit of mobilization work, bending the knee. We'll try to do some internal and external rotation as well. All good to keep those joints mobile, keep the joint moving in all aspects that it should be. So hit down into that hamstring. If you're having any trouble with the weight of it, don't cross over the leg. But generally, people don't feel too much into the hamstring with the foam roller. They probably feel it better on more of a trigger point ball, a larger trigger point ball or something like that. So again, if you feel any tender spots, roll into that area, shuffle side to side a little bit, and get it loosened up. Hitting down onto the calves next. These can be a little bit tender, probably more tender with a trigger point ball, more so than the foam roller. But get into the areas, kind of come onto the side, hit a little side on position on either side of the calf and rolling it out. Crossing over the leg again helps to increase the pressure, the body weight pressure that's down into that calf. So try that for about 8 to 10 rolls up and down. So the slower you go, the more intense you're going to feel it. The quicker you go, you're probably not going to get as much of an intensity out of it. So slow down and just find some of those tender areas. As you roll over onto the front, we're going to do the quads. These can be quite tender for people. So try and get to just above the knee. You can also come to the outside by rolling onto your side a little bit more and rolling all the way up to the crease of the hip. You may not find as much tension up towards the crease of the hip because it's harder to get more body weight up there. So you may find trigger point ball is better for closer up to the hip. But try and get some full rolls on from the top down to the bottom on both sides of your legs. Not just straight on, try and get a little bit to the side, seeing as your quad muscle kind of wraps around your front thigh. Think of it as a bit of a cylindrical shape rather than just a flat piece of muscle lying on top of your thigh. No need to really do the IT band. It's just a connective tissue. It's not really a muscle. It's not really going to benefit from doing any foam rolling. It's just going to hurt. And try and get the foam rolling done before your workouts.